Very good morning to all of you, friends. First of all, let me compliment Tanla for coming up, designing, building this solution. We are really proud that you said make in India, for India, and of course for the world. As a part of the Digital India mission, it's a great achievement, and I must compliment you for doing that. I must also compliment you for doing it in such a short time. I think it's just about 6 months or 7 months that we sort of came out with the regulation and building a solution. This is one of the regulations which is quite different from the typical regulation which TRAI comes out with. Here is a regulation which actually could not have been done earlier. My belief is that there are certain things which cannot be done unless you have a corresponding technology to make it happen. For example, India's unique ID project, Aadhaar, could not have been done, let's say, in the 1999 or 1995. Because at that time, you did not have biometric technology enabled at such a scale which could have solved the duplication problem of the identity project, any ID project which you have, because one of the objectives was to ensure uniqueness. That uniqueness could not have been ensured unless you have a technology to do that. Similarly, I think this whole issue of unsolicited commercial communication, everybody has been trying very hard, all regulators around the world have been trying very hard to find a solution, and the problem is becoming more and more serious. As you demonstrated in your presentation, you have frauds taking place. Annoyance is not the only thing which happens, it's also a lot of phishing and fraud attempts take place, and this problem is increasing. The Reserve Bank of India, the Securities Exchange Board of India, every entity has approached us to say how we can contain this problem. And the only way we have been kind of responding to them thus far is, look, content is not our problem. It's essentially we regulate the pipes and we don't regulate what passes through these pipes. But nevertheless, we were also conscious of the fact that this problem has to be tackled. So we came up with various kinds of solutions. But I think this solution which has now been designed and developed, and I must not compliment TRAI alone, I must compliment many friends of TRAI. Sanjay is sitting here. He is actually one of the first persons, we discussed, deliberated, and said, what can be done? How this problem can be solved? And how can we leverage technology to solve this problem? Because what's happening is that you have an ecosystem of registered telemarketers, registered all kinds of fellows, but still the systems were such that the free, sort of fly-by-night operators, somebody will buy a SIM, somebody will get a SIM and, shoot out 200 messages per day. And, after 10 days when your complaints arrive, he'll just throw away the SIM and buy another SIM. There's no way to control it. So in a way, all these efforts have not resulted into any gathering, any social gathering I used to go, or I even now go. The usual complaint is that I am registered on D&D, which is your platform, but still I continue to get all kinds of offers of 3 BHK houses or some rentals and some other, banking solutions, fixed deposit interest, all kinds of things. Even I do receive, calls from originating from Indore saying that, we are offering some, stock market trading. I don't know how they think that I am doing a lot of stock market stuff. So they keep on giving me all kinds of unsolicited advices, and I keep on, telling them that, look, I am registered on D&D. Then say, oh, and then they say your data, your number has been delivered to us, has been given to us. Your number has been updated in our records. So I don't know what these records are, who updates the number, who sells the number. So a lot of things are happening, and we are not able to really control it. So I think this solution, problem is very serious. We have tried all kinds of solutions in the past, including the crowdsourcing. In fact, the latest one was D&D 2.0, in which we deployed a solution in which we said that you can just, when you receive a call, you can just inform the sort of platform to say that I received. And then even those operators, those guys who were giving 10-digit, calling from 10-digit numbers, they could also be stopped. That effort we have tried. But somehow those efforts also don't yield a 100% set of results. So this particular, we had to have a solution which had the major characteristics of which were, A, everybody should be on the same page. All because ultimately there are a number of telcos, there are a number of ISPs through this problem is, through their pipes, these issues are passing. And we somehow have to bring everybody on the same page. How can we have a consensus around the solution? So that's number one. Having and achieving a consensus in this industry is a difficult one, as you know. So, but this is one issue on which we were able to establish a consensus, because every right-thinking person would agree that this is a serious problem. And after all, at some point in time, we are consumers too. We may be industry operators and all that, but we are consumers too, and we all suffer from this issue. So therefore, everybody agrees. That's number one. Secondly, we need to have a solution which is not a solution by agreement. It should be a technologically robust solution. So now, which is the technology which exists for a multi-party, real-time digital trust establishment, where you have multiple parties, you have a common kind of information base from which everybody can, sort of get. So this is an interoperable, multi-party digital solution which should happen. This is the basic requirement of this kind of solution if it is to operate. And also it should do, let's say, the data protection of the consumers. Because the earlier solution was that there is a D&D list. There's a list of D&D fellows. And that list is downloadable. So somebody who wants to spam, he gets a ready-made list of the guys who don't want to have this, these things. So he has a list of telephones. I mean, it's a very interesting situation where you are protecting, you don't want that person to have access to the telecom data, the data of the telephone numbers. But the D&D list itself is a list of numbers which provides the data. So it's quite paradoxical. So we also had to design a solution which is a zero information giving solution. You verify, but at the same time don't disclose any information. So the solution which has been built is essentially you don't now give that information of the D&D customers to anybody. Not only that, you also have provisions whereby you give a list of telephones to rub, to scrub against that list. That list will return not only those telephone numbers which, a subset of those telephone numbers, but will also return it in an encrypted form, whereby you don't even know that so not only it does not give any information additionally, it also protects the information whatever is available with you in some sense. So that provides protection to the persons. For example, if ICICI Bank is trying to do an advertisement to the customers which are not on D&D, then that information should not go to HDFC Bank, to the competitors. So how do we ensure that? So to ensure that privacy of the customers, privacy and protection of the businesses, all these things are protected. At the same time, you have a system which is absolutely, smooth, which is hassle-free, and which operates on a real-time basis, which does not cause any inconvenience to any stakeholders, which is robust, which is frugal, doesn't involve much cost. So how do we achieve that solution? This is actually the problem which we were all trying to solve, and I must compliment not only the solution providers, I must also compliment our telecom service providers, who actually came forward and said, yes, we need to have this solution. And it's really, so I must compliment, Rajan is sitting here as the DG of COAI, and all other TSPs are also here, representatives thereof. I must compliment them that all of them had agreed, and while we had a little bit of extension in terms of timelines, but it's a proud moment that on 1st of March we'll all go live. And I think this will be truly the world's first solution which is scalable, which is interoperable, which is based on open APIs, which is a zero knowledge transfer system, which builds digital trust. All these attributes which are required for a modern technology solutions are existing in this. And it uses blockchain technology. And it uses also, by the way, it uses a platform which is open source. That's the beauty, again, of this whole solution. It's not using some kind of proprietary stuff, but it's actually built upon an open source platform. I'm told Hyperledger 1.3 or whatever. So this is actually the beauty of this solution. And the interesting part is that in recent years in India, we all have had solutions with these attributes. Solutions based on open standards, solutions based on open APIs, solutions based largely on open source, unless an open source technology is not available for a particular domain, and solutions which are scalable, which speed up, which are based on the robust, PKI or whatever the cryptography. So I think, Aadhaar is one of them, UPI is another one of them. There are multiple platforms, multiple products which India has developed. And this also must be added to that India stack, where we will be able to sort of deploy this solution not only for India, but made in India and for the world. So this is really, I must compliment. This is an extremely interesting thing. And this is also an area where we have recognized co-regulation. Everybody working together. Industry providing us the best practices, the SOPs and other kinds of things. This is a true regulation in a true consultative manner, where we are not only doing the consultation, we are also empowering our stakeholders to create regulation. So that's a new paradigm in the regulatory exercise. And I think a regulation which takes cognizance of the technological development, without being, for any technology, any particular technology per se, is actually, we also can kind of be proud of this particular achievement. So once again, I want to compliment Tanla and all the people who are associated with it. I want to compliment our telecom service providers. And I am very sure that this solution, see, if you do a solution in India, you have already done a solution for the world. Because India is, so diverse, so large, telecom base of 1.2 billion, where do you find it? So actually, once you have done this here, everybody else, it's just a piece of cake. Everywhere else you can kind of, and this is a problem which is not a boundary, which is not an India problem. It's a problem which is affecting the whole world. After all, these telemarketing, etc., can be done from India, sitting in India, to the entire world. So therefore, it's a boundaryless problem in some sense, and I think other regulators and other systems will adopt this solution or a similar kind of solution, and I think we'll see a new era of controlling, and hopefully we will succeed this time to control the UCCs. Thank you very much.